Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? All right, perfect. I'd ask you how you're all doing, but I think I know. We're going to continue talking about artificial intelligence. I think this is our last actually session together. So I know you're sad. But we're going to talk about responsible AI, and we're going to start by talking about the future. So we're going to do a little exercise. I want you to imagine it's the year 2040. So yeah, you're all in your mid-30s. Ooh, old, I know. Have a real job, you're probably married and have a kid or two, right? Life changes, and changes fast. 10 years ago, you probably don't remember, but most people didn't really have tablets, cloud services, they weren't taking as many selfies, there was really no Instagram, no Snapchat. So life changes fast. When you imagine a future 20 years from now, what will life be like? So how prevalent will artificial intelligence be on your job, in your personal life? Take a couple of minutes to think about it, and I'm going to ask you to share. All right? I'm going to ask everyone to share. So you got to have an answer. You guys understand what I'm asking you to do? So you're going to pretend it's 2040, right? You guys will all be in your mid-30s, you're working, might be married, have kids. Artificial intelligence, what we're talking about, is going to be very prevalent pretty much everywhere. Where do you think it's going to be in 2040? And where's it going to be on your job, at your home? You know, what do you think your kids will be doing with it? Very much, what will life be like in the future? I'll give you 1 minute to think about that. All right, your minute is up. I'm going to start in the back over there. What's one thing you think the future will be like with AI? Yes, I'm pointing right at you. Nope, the person behind you. I can't hear you. You're going to really have to speak up. You're going to have to speak up. What's one thing you thought of? So you had this exercise asking you to think of something. What's the one thing you thought of? You did not think of anything. Is that right? You didn't think of anything. Is that right? Okay, I'm going to go to the next person. What's one thing you thought of?
She said she
Couldn't see.
And also I think transportation will change.
Okay. I can't hear you. You don't know? Okay. You don't know? Couldn't think of one thing? Yeah. Yeah. There'll be no more jobs, okay? What will people be doing? Do you disagree, all right?
Well, there's gonna be jobs, but I think for me, I want to be like an automobile engineer. Because like standing right next to me is like gonna be a robot, like working with me. So that's what I think.
Okay, you You see a future where humans and humans and robots will be working together, okay?
Yeah, we'll probably be watching kids, you know, babysitting them.
All right, so AI babysitters, very much be the case. Parents would love that one.
There'll be more self-driving cars everywhere.
So let me ask, you think will there be human drivers in 2040?
No, I don't think it's like no more traffic lights.
No more traffic lights.
We're gonna see an influx of homeless people because like people like jobs like radio, like the jobs in radio. Like I was just in class, and he says like all of his friends are getting laid off like all the time because AI is simply just like screwing them over and taking all the jobs. And like the factory jobs are gonna go probably. Like taxi driving jobs are already gone, kinda. Yeah.
That's true. Some jobs will be lost, some jobs will be new jobs, but they estimate that by the time you guys graduate college, about 40% of the jobs that exist today will be gone. Yeah. So could be homeless, a lot of homeless people. What else? What else did you guys think of? Yeah.
Maybe like self-driving cars are gonna be like now like today's super expensive cars. Like if you have enough money, you can get a self-driving car, but if you don't, if you're driving, like you know what I mean?
It could be. Do you think people will own cars in the future?
Yeah, I wouldn't trust a robot driver.
You wouldn't trust a robot? You say no? So there's a real debate going on. Should people even be allowed to drive?
Whoa, whoa.
Who's actually a safer driver, a robot or a human? Are you sure? The United Nations estimates that 98% of auto fatalities will be removed by having robot drivers.
Like Tesla has a
Right?
Is a robot ever put in a situation where it doesn't know what to do?
Yeah.
Like while driving?
It's possible, right? We can't think of every scenario, right? But it's much like us, we can't think of every scenario, we just react.
Crime rates drop to 0%.
Wow, that's an ambitious one. So crime will go to 0%. Could be. The robots get what? Hacked? So you think cybersecurity and cybercrime will be big things to be concerned about? For sure. We've already seen that people can hack into self-driving cars. What else? Yeah.
AI policeman.
AI policeman. Yeah. Has anyone ever been to Dubai?
yeah.
Have you seen the robot police force? They actually have robot police people. What else do you think will change? Think about it. You're in your mid-30s. What will life be like?
Food's gonna change because like we're losing like more wild animals.
Right, so food will probably change, right?
There'll be less hunter-gatherers.
Well, do you think we'll be eating more meat or less meat in the future? Probably less. Yeah.
Humans will incorporate like AI and robotic parts inside them. So.
Yeah, so we'll become cyborgs. It's already actually starting to happen, right? We may not be fully human anymore. Somebody else have their hand up? Yeah.
Robot like you gotta like recharge them or like what do you do?
We're gonna charge it, which means what happens to electricity and electrical needs? Yeah. Yeah.
There's gonna be more windmills.
Should we say more what?
There's gonna be more windmills.
More windmills? We'll be looking for alternative sources of power? Probably. Right? They already estimate we're gonna be short 2 trillion plugs by 2025. Yeah. So in 5 years, we'll be short 2 trillion plugs worldwide. You gotta charge your device somewhere, right? You gotta charge the robot somewhere, your car somewhere.
Can't we use like power plants, like energy plants like that?
It takes a long time to build one. Yeah. We should, but we don't. Most of the infrastructure in the United States is actually 60 years old. It can't support what we have today.
There'll be less like chefs.
Like human chefs?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I was at this place in like San Francisco, and like the whole restaurant was like robots. It's kind of cool.
Japan, they already have robot chefs. Check it out. Do you have your hand up?
Our major changed, like the class. In 2014, those young kids will have like another class called like AI something like robotic class, and then it become part of their life, and they're like having other biology class, but it's not like the chemical list we have is like a brand new one because of the AI and research more stuff.
So what we learn, our education will be different, right? Math, science, art, philosophy, more important. We'll have to learn advanced mathematics, how to program robots.
What about trash?
That's a big one. What do we do about waste? Right? All your phones, your tablets actually have toxic materials in them. You can't just throw them away, right? That's going to increase.
Are robots gonna have like feelings like towards their like owner or?
It's possible that machines might start feeling emotions, right?
AI and robots will probably take over like majority of the medical industry, like for delicate surgeries and stuff like that.
Okay, so we probably have AI doctors, nurses. How many of you guys ever watched Star Wars? Have you ever seen a human doctor? Right, that was a long, long time ago.
Cryptocurrency will probably be born.
It could be. It's already starting to happen. Japan just legalized it.
The price of metal is gonna increase.
Yeah, the price of metals is going to increase. We're going to need materials for all these devices, right?
And like for the rich people, they want to build device.
You can predict the crime.
That's actually happening today. They're using AI to predict crime. So maybe we'll have AI detectives, right? They'll be analyzing DNA information. Maybe it'll be predictive crime. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Minority Report, where they can predict the crime before it actually happens and arrest the person. So is the person guilty for thinking of doing a crime but not committing it? Yeah, it could be that all blue-collar jobs are gone. It could be a lot of white-collar jobs are gone.
AI like would be doing crime, so people might use it for crime.
So it could be AI criminals, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, bad people do things with the technology too.
If like a robot becomes a police officer and then commits a crime, like who would put the robot?
We probably need other robots, AI robots to arrest it. You know, that we still need human detectives and things. So there's a lot of things that are probably going to happen in the future. I mean, your kids might be raised by machines. But think about that. You might have an AI nanny. Now, you say that now, but wait till you actually have kids. So there's a lot of things that can happen, and some things that are already happening today. So like we heard, people working with machines, it's already starting to happen, right? Now people say, what's the big deal? Well, these are big, powerful machines. They swing the wrong way, they can actually kill a person, right? But now you see that we've actually advanced AI far enough where we don't worry about those things anymore. In fact, it's quite possible that you have a robot boss one day. He could be working for a machine. Can you imagine that? So you're not too far away. Right? They're also now building whole factories like General Electric that's run by an AI. So the AI figures out what to build, when to build, who is to assign, what jobs, people and machines. So your entire office might be actually run by machines. Right? You might have a robot boss, you might have a robot CEO. The other thing we're seeing is that we're using AI to come up with new materials. There's something called generative design, where the AI can actually fabricate materials or parts we've never thought of before, design a new product. So the way we build cars or bicycles or all these things might be radically different in the future. It's a lot of change, a lot of different things, and we're already starting to see some of this. So we're already seeing generative design being used building like race cars. Space farming. We've learned that we can actually grow different foods and types of nutrients in space than we can on Earth. Right? So farmers might actually be farming in space thanks to AI. Maybe we'll need people that know how to be an astronaut and how to be a farmer at the same time. You guys recognize this movie? Iron Man, right? Remember Iron Man's AI assistant? Yeah, good. Jarvis. Right? You saw how Tony Stark created his suits? It's called extended reality, where the AI is letting him play around with something in reality, even though it's virtual, take it apart. We'll probably be doing a lot of work like this. In fact, there's already a tool for doctors where they can actually see your heart, right? And they can actually rotate the heart around and actually break it up. The AI will break it up for them. They can see inside the ventricles, the blood vessels, all these things, without ever having to go into your body. So that, none of this I thought it was the future. It's actually what's happening today. So imagine what life will actually be like in 20 years. Pretty cool? Does that make you rethink your future career, what you have to learn in college? Jobs are going to be really different. I don't know if anyone ever watches Black Mirror, right? I'm sure your parents don't need to know. But this is one of the episodes, and they have this thing called a cookie. And the cookie is your AI digital assistant, and it's actually built on your brain waves. And so the cookie knows you as well as yourself because it is yourself. So it's an AI that can anticipate that you want pancakes for breakfast today, or you're probably going to have a really rough day and play your favorite song. Yeah. The AI assistant lives much like a Jarvis. So you can see it, or it's virtual, or it's extended reality. Right? Obviously, we don't have this quite yet today, but this is what everyone considers the Holy Grail. That we'd all have an AI assistant to help us in every little chore, admin task of our lives. So how many people would want something like this? Yeah, me too. So we're not that far away, and this could very much be a reality by 2040. Or we could all be cyborgs by 2040. A lot of different ways we could actually take this. Do you see any downsides to these things?
Yes.
Like what?
Government spying on you.
Okay, government spying on you. They're already doing that, but you could probably do a better job. Yeah.
I have a question, like, isn't it gonna be expensive to implement robot, like AI and everything that we do?
For right now, it is. And what we've seen is technology always gets better, and so the costs start coming down. Think about it like the first cars. The first cars were very expensive, right? Most people could not afford them until they found a way to mass produce them. Then everyone could suddenly afford a car. So we'll get there with this technology too.
There could be more cybercrime.
Yeah, I mean, how many of you guys have heard of deep fakes? What's a deep fake?
Deepfakes basically like you implement some other person face into like people.
Yeah, it's an AI that looks like the person, sounds like them, moves around like them, but it's actually not that person. I don't know if you guys ever watch podcasts. Have you heard of Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan does a bunch of podcasts, and they decided to play a trick on him, and so these guys created a deep fake of him doing a podcast. And his producers knew, but he didn't. And they said, we want to do a clip show. And so they were playing all these old clips, and they played the deep fake somewhere among them. And Joe Rogan was looking at it. He's like, I must have been hung over that day because I don't remember shooting this. Right? It was so good, he actually thought he did that podcast. Right? He didn't realize until I told him you actually didn't do that one. So to your point, you can't trust our eyes, our ears, We don't know if this is real or not. What do we do? There's no one, not even yourself. So as much of it could be a powerful tool for good, it could be a tool for bad, unfortunately. So we also have to worry what's going to happen to human society. If machines are doing everything for us, you're going to get lazy, right? You guys recognize this movie? Wall-E, yeah. What happened in Wall-E? Yeah, robots took over everything, even the sanitation, poor Wall-E. And you see humans now just live on these little air chairs and have their big gulps and get entertained. We have to also wonder what's going to happen to us. What are we going to do with all this free time? So a lot of change in society. So as a result of all these things, we're wondering, what is this going to mean for us? And how do we make sure that we use AI for good purposes? And so we've developed something that we call responsible AI to try and help us actually do that. So I'm going to play a really quick video. You guys can see what it is. Preloaded it. It's not working.
What is responsible AI? Imagine you're driving down the freeway. There's a slowdown up ahead, so you slow down. But what about after it clears up? Will you stay at a slow speed just in case at some point traffic slows down again? Of course not. You'll drive fast again knowing that if you need to use the brakes, you will. Those brakes do for your car what responsible AI does for your business. It lets companies implement AI at scale with confidence. Knowing responsible AI can help avoid problems up ahead or even course correct, all by making transparent, trustworthy decisions. Companies using AI to help identify and recruit candidates run the risk of perpetuating inherent biases in the data, drawing on practices that might have skewed to one group or another in the past. But responsible AI can help them recruit and consider a broader pool of qualified candidates. We hope this was a fair representation of responsible AI.
This is a really slow computer, sorry. Hopefully that eventually switches back. But responsible AI is trying to use things for obviously good purposes, not discriminate, do some of these things. Could a machine discriminate against people?
Yes.
How? How do you think it could do that?
With programmers that make the design and catering to a specific group of people.
Okay, so if it's intentionally or willfully done, that's a problem, right? Is there another way?
Teaching the AI, it might pick up some divine notice, like Derek Travis, like divine people and everything else will be more
That's actually a really good example that I would love to show you more about if I can get this to, there we go. All right, your example is actually a really interesting one because Amazon, how many of you guys are familiar with Amazon? Right? How many of you would like to work at Amazon? A couple of people. It's a really interesting company. And they get thousands of job applicants all the time, right? Every time they post a job, they get actually like a few thousand people apply. So they thought, we'll build an AI recruiting assistant to help us read all these resumes, find great people. And so they did that, and they trained the AI on who their good employees were. They had 10 years worth of data. And guess what? Guess who the AI realized were the best employees? Yeah, men. Right? So their AI wound up being sexist. If you were a man, the AI bumps you up terms of the priority list in your qualifications. And if you're a woman, it actually knocks you down. Now, does the AI actually know if you're a man or a woman? Not really, right? It's not like it's trained to look at names and things like that, right? But what we've learned is that the way that men write their resumes and the way that women write their resumes are different word choices. And so the AI learned to recognize that, hey, you know, the people that we hire tend to be mostly men and they use these types of words. And so I'm gonna prioritize those. Those must be the good candidates. And so, because women weren't using the same words, they actually got bumped down. So I don't think Amazon was meant to be sexist, but unfortunately that's what wound up happening. So guess what Amazon did? Yeah, they shut down their AI tool, right? Very much like Google Vision. It was really good at recognizing people if you're a white man, not if you're a woman or another nationality, right? Again, I don't believe that Google meant to be racist or sexist. Unfortunately, the way they taught their AI, they used lots of pictures of white men to do that. So as a result, didn't realize that. So we have to be really careful because we teach a machine something, it's like a child, a little kid. And because we take so many things for granted, unless we show the machines all the different like variations of a person, it's going to learn bad habits. And unfortunately, we always talk about crowdsource, right? We can solve these problems through crowdsourcing. Well, have you ever heard of KBot? KBot over here. So Microsoft, this is almost 3 years ago now, Microsoft released a Twitter bot, which was their AI called Tay. And they trained Tay up to the level of being a 13-year-old girl. And said it'll be a great experiment, release it on the world, people will interact with KBot, learn, get better, be kind of a great experiment. So KBot came out to the world, said, hello world, I'm excited to meet you, we're really excited. And 24 hours later, Microsoft had to shut KBot down because it was a Nazi, sexist, racist, espousing, I kid you not, espousing the virtues of Hitler. What happened to KBot? What do you think happened?
The people of the world probably like started to exploit the flaws of KBot as in, you know, training this innocent 13-year-old AI to, you know, become exposed to these sort of things.
Yeah, I hate to say it, it wasn't hacked, but it was a small group of people decided to corrupt this thing. And so they actively worked to corrupt it, teaching it hate speech and about the Nazis and all these other things. So it became misogynist, became racist. I mean, everyone thought we had this grand like experiment because of a few people ruined it. Right? No one's tried this again because ironically this is more of an indictment of human society than any technology. But we know that AI's got to get trained, and so if bad people are doing the training, guess what happens? If you're worried about cybersecurity, if you're worried about AI doing harmful things, it's all about the people that are teaching the machine. So we have to have responsible AI to ensure that we're trying to teach the machines the right thing. We're trying to do things for good purposes to help society. Now, the United Nations, who we do a lot of work with, they're very interested in having robot judges. If you see it as a way to reduce corruption in the judicial system, improve access to justice, give people more of a fair trial, we have problems, right? Machines need data to learn from. Well, we have a lot of data in our court systems that we could use to teach an AI judge, right? Problem is, what will they learn? Right? We have a case of two college students that were almost exactly the same age. Both were athletes, both committed the same crime, both were found guilty, and look at their sentencing. Is that fair? Right? Do do you think we'll find a lot of cases like this where the sentencing is actually not consistent? Right? So if you're an AI and you're trying to learn about the justice system, what do you think is going to happen? What's the AI going to wind up learning? Well, look, if you start thinking, look, they're both college students, they're both the same age, they're committing the same crime, they're both athletes, it's going to start looking for reasons why they're different. You say, why are the sentences so different? What's the most obvious one? Yeah, unfortunately, it's ethnicity, right? So guess what the machine's going to wind up learning? Is this what we want? No, this is not what we want, right? We want the machine to do better. And so we just can't say, here's a bunch of great data, we have our robot judges. We're going to have to, again, try and do a lot better on this. Right? We're going to have to, as we say, curate the content or start figuring out why we have these inconsistencies and fix them. Not an easy problem to solve. Right? I'm sure that most of you would agree this isn't right, period. Right? This shouldn't be happening. So we can do a lot. We've heard about having robot bosses, robot nannies, you know, all these things, but it doesn't matter unless we can build truth and trust in the technology. So we were talking about self-driving cars, and some people were excited. They felt robots were better drivers than people, and some people said no way. This is one of the big reasons why some people say no way. Right? They don't have enough faith, trust in the technology. So are there things that machines can do better than us? Are there things that we do better than machines? Yes, there are, right? So we have to try and play to the strengths. So when I say that there may be a day they'll actually outlaw people from driving cars, that's probably very much the reality. Right? Why is it that a machine can drive a car better than we can?
It's the program to not make errors.
Well, it's not the program not to make errors.
They aren't emotional.
Okay, so they're not emotional, right? They're not going to drive angry or distracted. What else? They definitely don't text and drive. Not that any of you guys do, right? They don't fall asleep on the road. They don't drink, right? Sorry, what? I can't hear you. Yeah, they don't lose their focus, right? How do you guys drive? Or you will drive? How do most people drive? Angry? I hope not. What sense do you rely on the most when you drive? Sight, your vision, right? We're very visual drivers. Machines, what senses do they rely on? Everything, right? They drive using camera data, so sight. They drive using radar and LiDAR. Right? They drive using auditory. You know, you hear that little kid about to run across the street before you see the kid. They use IoT sensors, Internet of Things. So sensors in the traffic lights, in the road, in the other cars. They know exactly what's around that blind left turn before they make the left turn. They're processing thousands of data points every nanosecond. We can't do that. Right? That's why machines are actually better drivers than we are. Sorry. When you start driving more often and you start cursing the other drivers, you know what I'm talking about. So we have to work on trying to build the truth and the trust in the technology, and that's become very difficult. Because whether you want to be a business person or you want to be a technical person, you have two things, understandability and interpretability. Understandability means that a non-technical person, not a business person, understands what the machine is doing, how it works. And we've already seen that we started with high understandability and gone to low. Interpretability is, does the technical person understand how the AI works? And the problem is we've gone from high to also low. where now even the technologists don't understand how the machines work. How many of you guys use Facebook Messenger? Surprised so many people still use Facebook yet. Right? Facebook created an AI, and they had two versions of their AI and said, we'll have them talk to each other through Facebook Messenger. And within an hour, they went from English to a bunch of gobbledygook type of language. And they got freaked out because they didn't know what the AI was saying anymore. So they shut it down. And they did a study afterwards. They brought in some linguists. And the linguists realized that what happened was the AI found English too inefficient to communicate. So they created their own language. Yeah. Right? The machine felt English was not good enough to use. Right? It wasn't fast enough for the way they thought. So they created their own language. Yeah. Which we didn't understand. So it's still shut down, right? But this goes to not even the technologists understand what's happening anymore. That's a problem. Yeah.
We still don't know the language now?
We think it's some sort of shorthand, but they've never been able to decode it. Yeah. We could turn them back on to get more data and analyze it, but nobody wants to do that. Yeah, because people are scared, right? We don't know what the AI is talking about. Maybe they're talking about some performance, competing performance, or maybe they're talking about world domination. We don't know, right? Maybe they're talking about how much Instagram is so much better. Why aren't we on there?
Since we never know the answer, so isn't that why we study them? So we know the answer?
Well, that's the thing, right? But if we're trying to figure out what language they created, we have to have more data to do that, right? The only way we're going to get more data is to turn this back on, which is no one's comfortable with. We don't have a Rosetta Stone for their language, so we need more data. But these are the things that are happening. So one of the other big things is China has implemented a social credit score system. So again, if you ever watch a Black Mirror episode, that's actually one of the Black Mirror episodes where everyone gets to kind of rate you, and based on your social score, you get access to services or bonuses, or you're denied access to services. So I'm going to play you another video to show you. See if this works any better.
Joe Aini is retired, but when her town was brought into a new government program, her services were required. Now, she gets paid about $50 a month to watch and record the lives of her 3,000 neighbors, as one of 6 so-called information collectors. China started piloting its social score system in 2015 in villages like this one. Here's how it works. You start with 1,000 points. If you do something bad, you get points docked. If you do something good and you happen to be spotted, you get a boost.
就是我们有比方说是跟这个社区内哈，来听到的这是好嘢好事啊，我的书写的这上面。
These journals, filled with tales of neighbors helping old people or seen leaving trash in hallways, end up in a local office. A government employee gives each entry a score. The results go public.
这是我们这儿的王教授，这个来保洁员洗到了钱包哈，但是他就马上就送到了这个成都会儿哈，为了大事业哈，现在来戏剧哈，找里面电梯这不。 是找这面电梯送到歌会儿哈，表扬他戏剧部门哈，凭借了高尚。
On top of that, he got this didn't pocket the money he found trophy. Raising his score could mean more money later, with lower interest loans and discounts on utilities and rent.
你看我那现在是那个社区里的邻里非常和睦，没有一个是邻里打架的，一个都没有，因为他现在生活也好了，也不治了。
Wang Fengbo thinks the system isn't just about the points. It works because people want to save face.
那个这个这样喝酒回家，我老婆俩大家，我老婆都打碎了。这要是你夫妻俩家用这造成影响也不好，我们也不对分。他最后来找我呀，学呀，哎呀，这就是俺多少大家了，然后就写上，因为都要爱面子。你给他写就行，你写好，说你好，哎，你写肯定是写了那张表面很光彩。你写的不好，他写的他那些也不光彩，也还有指名呀。
But the program is more than just public naming and shaming. If someone slips below 1,000 points, even just a little, there are serious consequences.
以及950分，意味着你预计意味着你将来坐飞机呀、高消费呀，或者是什么贷款啊都不能做，都不可以。
Zhang Yingjie co-signed a loan for a friend who later skipped out. He paid his share, but the local court didn't care.
我前2天去淄博，赶上暑假没有票，我就得买这个头等舱，结果是说你信用度不够，不能买头等舱。我回来没办法，不能还是没有座位，回来坐这个大巴，高铁不是4个小时就到了，大巴车得10个多小时。
4 million people have been blocked from buying high-speed train tickets over low social credit, and more than 11 million from buying flights. To raise his score, Zhang gets in line at a local community office to donate money the government says will go to charity.
捐100的居多，再有捐1000的、600的、500的都有，都可以加分。
Zhang keeps track of his social score closely, but he doesn't keep track of where his donations end up.
这个具体给学管了解，你问具体没问他，我也不知道这个。我现在已经通过训写，通过捐款啊，通过做义工来给自己加分。
The system might have caused him to suffer, but Zhang is unwavering in his support for the government's push to score him.
这是通过这种制度来约束很多不自觉的人。
By 2020, China plans to track, rate, reward, and punish all of its citizens, essentially turning every personal experience into a transaction. Not that Zhang minds. He's got his high score back. At least for now.
现在通过做好人好事，通过这个捐款呐、加分呐，我现在高铁票能买了，终于成为正常人了。
What do you guys think about that? So you guys want to do the social score system? Is that what? Why not? Are you sure? You heard? When did they say they're going to roll this out to all the people? What year did they say they're going to roll this out to everybody? 2020. This year. They're using AI to actually implement this. So in some cases, obviously, it's very effective. In some cases, a little concerning. Ironically, in my old hometown of Ningbo, a famous Chinese actress was cited for jaywalking, right? So the AI cameras detect her jaywalking. She got issued a ticket. Her score fell low enough where she couldn't give out plane tickets. So she contested and said that I was never in Ningbo. I wouldn't be walking on the streets. I'm a famous actress. Please, restore my score. And so they sent her a video of the infraction. And what had happened was there was a bus making a legal turn. On the bus was an advertisement, and her face was on the advertisement. And so the camera picked up her face, thought it was her, cited her for jaywalking. So I think it took her like 4 months to get the whole thing resolved. But at that time, she couldn't fly. So, truth and trust in technology, right? So these things that we're talking about, things that are Black Mirror episodes, are really coming to happen. Yeah.
So what happens if like everyone is like all good things, and like does that mean that everyone's like the government just have to give them a bunch of money?
They would get discounts, credits, that kind of stuff. They want people to behave nicely.
Yeah, but if everyone's like behaving nicely, getting like free stuff, doesn't that like make other people use money? Like where are they getting discounts from?
It's not a zero-sum game, right? Because the government is paying for all this, they would just cover the money themselves. Now, if everyone is behaving really well, they might raise the bar then, right? So before, if you got extra points for donating 1,000 RMB, and everyone started doing that, suddenly you may not got points for that anymore, right? Now you may only get points if you donated 5,000 RMB. But that's the idea about keep raising the bar, right? Could you imagine if every time you had an interaction you got rated on social media, or you rated other people on social media? What would happen? You do that, but it doesn't impact your bank account or your access to services. Imagine if Fairmont said, hey, guess what? Your social credit score is too low to attend this school now. Right? That could happen. So, it could be some big changes for all of us in the future here. 2040 could be a very different place as a result. But despite all the things, the opportunities, again, it's just a tool. The technology is a tool. We choose how to wield it. You can use it to make money. You can use it to rate people, social credit system. You can use it for self-driving cars. But you can also use it for good, which is one of the big things I work on in the United Nations. So we can use it to make a better planet, provide more public services. So I can tell you Governor Newsom has a roadmap for the state of California. One of the big things is actually introducing AI into public services to try and provide more services for us at hopefully a lower cost. So what are some things that our people are doing for social good? Some things might surprise you. You recognize this device. It's a toilet. Do you think anything special? Is there anything special about this toilet? See-through, right? What else? I think you're focused on the wrong part, wrong part of the device. All right, you guys are still young and essentially immortal. But as you get older, especially when you're mid-30s, you can worry about your health. This is a smart toilet in that every time you create waste, there's an AI actually analyzing your waste, looking for biomarkers, signs of illness or disease. Not so cool anymore, huh? But if you want to catch early stage diabetes, Parkinson's, all these things, this is a powerful tool for us, right? Because we know if we catch something very early stage, we potentially can actually treat it. It's just that it's very difficult for us to detect some of these things. So, I mean, how many of you want to live healthy lives? So only half. That's good to know. All right, this is a device to help us do that. You know, and obviously we're going to make money off this, but it's also an opportunity to improve access to healthcare. So some social good, right? You all say this today, but I bet in the future you'll own this, right? The smart toilet. You recognize this organ? Lungs, right? And so Kathleen Sloan has developed an AI that can detect early stage lung cancer from x-rays. So it's about 90% accurate. Most human doctors can't do that. They look at this, they may not really see these small little polyps out there, but the AI actually can. And so again, talking about early stage detection, if we can find these things earlier, it's a much easier way, much better chance of treating the patient surviving for a full life. So they have similar technology now for detecting breast cancer. They're looking at things for colon cancer. So again, a lot of good use. Then we have Seeing AI, which is a partnership between Microsoft and a company to help people that are actually vision impaired. So I'm going to see if I can play this video. Bear with me because this thing moves so slowly. Almost there, I think. Nope. Lost it.
AI is a Microsoft research project for people with visual impairments. The app narrates the world around you by turning the visual world into an audible experience. Point your phone's camera, select a channel, and hear a description. The app recognizes saved friends. Jenny near top right, 3 feet away. Describes the people around you, including their emotions. 28-year-old female wearing glasses looking happy. It reads text out loud as it comes into view, like on an envelope. Ken Lawrence, P.O. Box. Or a room entrance. Conference 2005. Or scan and read documents like books and letters. The app will guide you and recognize the text with its formatting. Top and left edge is not visible. Hold steady. Lease agreement. Disagreement. When paying with cash, the app identifies currency bills. $20 US. When looking for something in your pantry or at the store, use the barcode scanner with audio cues to help you find what you want. Campbell's tomato soup. When available, hear additional product details. Heated microwave bowl on high. And even hear descriptions of images in other apps like Twitter by importing them into Seeing AI. A close-up of Bill Gates. Finally, explore our experimental features like scene descriptions to get a glimpse of the future. I think it's a young girl throwing a frisbee in the park. Experience the world around you with the Seeing AI app from Microsoft.
What do you guys think about that? Pretty useful. You ever thought about using AI to help blind people effectively see? Right? Think about some of these other things. How many of you guys have like an Alexa at home? A few people? How many people use Siri or Bixby or Pixel? If you're mute, can't speak, how do you use these devices? You can't talk to them, right? You can type, right? But if you're deaf? You can still speak, you just can't hear them. Well, let's tackle the mute thing first. Yeah, so if you're mute, you're not able to speak, how can you use an Alexa or a Siri or something?
Is AI going to be able to speak sign language? What if
No way.
So you're absolutely right. So people have actually taught AI sign language. And so, because like Alexa and stuff you can actually take camera data, right? You can actually read what you're signing, so you don't actually have to speak to the machine. You can read essentially your hands and respond back. The comment, idea, or?
Like that video you showed us last time of the guy with the cybernetic arm controlling it without a hand. So like, I don't know, like it could just like read your mind or something.
That might happen one day, we're a little far, from it, but it could be possible. But what you're talking about is actually good, so if your person is actually deaf, right, while they can speak, they can't hear, how can they use an Alexa?
Oh, like, it let's say like, on your phone.
It could display text, it could sign back if it has arms, in theory. There's different ways to communicate back, right? So that's, I haven't seen anyone actually work on people that are deaf like that, which is interesting. But it could be done. Like, these are not things that we normally think about, right? But powerful tools for us. And then we have something like Ollie. Ollie is a combination of a bunch of emerging technologies. So Ollie is an AI-powered self-driving bus that was designed by IBM Watson, solar-powered, and is printed via 3D printers. So it's not manufactured, it's actually printed. It can hold up to, if I remember actually correctly, 12 people. And on one solar charge can go about 100 miles. So no driver, no steering wheel, nothing like that. In fact, you can even chit-chat with the bus because it's AI powered. You can have a conversation about the LA Kings or the Los Angeles Lakers or the weather, or if there's a sale at Nordstrom's. But yeah, self-driving, solar-powered, 3D printable bus. And again, this is the future. This Ollie's been around for 3-4 years now. So you think about the implications for like climate change, reduction of waste, all these things. Very much a social good aspect. So I have one last challenge for you guys. Right? I know we talk a lot about commercial, we talk a lot about technology, all these things. What's one idea that we use artificial intelligence to help the world? Right? We've got, unfortunately, a host of problems out there. What's one thing you can see AI helping? Yeah. Racism. I don't know if you can, I agree, I don't know if you can ever stop it, but could you help reduce it or combat it? Ironically, Google is using their AI to detect hate speech. Unfortunately, it became racist. So poor training on their part. What else can we do? Yeah.
Well, you can, like, let's say you do have like that software that was racist. You can make it like more open or like less racist, I guess.
Okay, we can try at least make things less racist. Step in the right direction. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Things may never be perfect. I applaud all the racism thing. We have to combat that. There's a lot of unfortunate ill in the world. Okay, what can we do with engineering?
I would trust like an AI to build my car.
Okay.
Not drive it.
So maybe we could use more friendly, less toxic materials, less waste. Yeah, for sure. That's where generative design comes in, actually coming up with things that don't produce as much waste, but not as toxic. And in Africa, they actually have AI garbage men that actually patrol the streets looking for things that are actually recyclable and collecting it.
They can eliminate less labor, like in like stuff like manufactured. So like when you say like a product has a defect, that won't happen anymore.
Okay, so they can help with quality control and improve safety that way, for sure. Okay, how could AI help us with global warming?
Honestly, I don't know a lot about global warming, but it's a really bad thing.
It for sure is, and we don't realize our own impact on that. People actually use AI to help us understand if we made some small changes, how we could actually fight carbon emissions and global warming. In fact, I will actually share, there's a guy that's created a drone that shoots this pellet seed. So it's like a tree pellet with like essentially accelerated like fertilizer and stuff. It can shoot it, I think, was it 10 meters under the ground? And this drone can plant 1,000 trees an hour. So that's one way to help fight global warming.
Maybe defending people, like old people that can't defend themselves.
There's a lot going on with where like elderly care, helping even providing them help to take their medication. But I think we talked about this. You remember what the biggest illness in the world is? Not cancer. Not diabetes. Racism. The disease of a different kind. Humanity, no, we're not a disease as far as we know. The biggest illness in the world is actually loneliness. About 40% of the world suffers some degree of moderate to severe loneliness. Can AI help us with that? Yeah, we can create AI companions that will never get mad, frustrated, are available 24/7. So you have, if you're elderly care, they always have someone to talk to. If you have a depressed teenager, suicidal teenager, again, they have someone to talk to, right? That's what we've learned is a lot of these people, they actually just need someone to talk to help them with their loneliness, their depression. Right? I think we've all been there or will be there suffering from something like that.
Is it possible to have like some sort of like human and robot in one little body?
like a cyborg?
No, like a human and a robot together. Yes.
There's a lot of work. I mean, we've already seen like the guys that have the robotic arms and legs and things like that. And I don't remember if I shared this, there's the surgery where people that are blind, they can actually put digital cameras underneath their eyes and transmit the image to the brain so they can actually see. Yeah. Still very expensive and experimental, but they can do that.
There's a lot of people like waiting on like organ donation lists, or maybe we can make organs.
That's a great idea. They're actually teaching AI to 3D print organs. And so they're trying to figure out how they can take your stem cells and print a new heart or print a new set of lungs so your body won't reject it. Yeah. Yeah, they actually think if they can work out the organics for 3D printing, they think they'll actually be able to do this in about 10 years. Can you imagine that? So if you wind up with cancer, they could actually just print a new set of lungs from your own stem cells. You talk about potential immortality, might be on the cusp of it. What other things do you think we could do to help the world? Yeah. What? So help fight crime? Yeah. So you know that Amazon's trying to turn Alexa into a home security guard. So they're like things like if Alexa hears a glass break, it'll call the police. It's a great point, right? When they taught Alexa how to, when a glass breaks, one of the engineers realized that, wait a second, what if someone just drops the glass, right?
What about the window break?
So they had to teach Alexa the difference between the sound of a glass, like a cup breaking, versus someone breaking a window.
What if you're playing soccer?
Well, shouldn't be playing soccer indoors. Right? Not going to be perfect, but yeah. Yeah, so can we simulate another world? So they're actually looking at AI to say, if we want to live on Mars, how do we terraform Mars? How do we create an atmosphere? At the same time, NASA is now using AI to predict different types of life on planets. So rather than carbon-based life, could you have silicon-based life? What would that look like? And what plants would support that? Yeah. You might, right? Because we're asking AI to do things that we don't fully comprehend anymore. Right? I mean, maybe life could be based off xenon gas. I don't know. We can't fathom that, but the AI could. So are we now entering a realm where we're very dependent on machines to explain things to us rather than the way around?
3D edible food to fight hunger.
Edible food?
Yeah, to fight hunger.
Yeah, to fight hunger, right? One of the big goals is zero hunger. Can we grow enough food to support 9 billion people?
No.
Actually, we can. We can actually grow enough food to support 12 billion people. We just don't know how to do that efficiently. That's actually what they're using AI for now. So we've actually seen that the same land, with the help of AI, a farmer can actually grow crops with less water, less topsoil, less sunlight, but actually grow more food. So that's actually a big one. Any other ideas? Yeah.
What if AI can get rid of that desire to eat?
Get rid of our desire to eat? I don't know, that's kind of central to how we live. I don't know if we'll ever stop eating unless we become like a full robot, but it could actually help us eat more nutritiously and maybe use better use of the food that we do have.
It could do heart surgeries.
Yeah, it could do heart surgeries. In fact, there's already some experimentation going on in Europe with AI actually performing microsurgery. Because machines see much better than we do, especially in very small areas. Yeah.
We could have maybe like AI firefighters, because like that's like a lot of it's like really dangerous, like going to fires.
We could, right? And I don't know if you guys know about the bushfires in Australia, but they have a shortage of firefighters now because the whole country's on fire. They're actually bringing in firefighters from other countries, but we could have machine firefighters. We could have drones dropping foam repellent as well. It'd be interesting to see, would robots melt if the fire's too hot? What do we do with that? Make them out of something else? Use it for border patrol, for law enforcement. No one wants to do social credit score? Already been done? All right. I think we're almost out of time. So any last questions? Yeah.
What jobs are AI gonna create in the future? Because I know there's a lot of jobs in the US. So what are some of the more jobs that
We need more people that can do, obviously, robotics, machine learning, like programming. A lot of, like, we always talk about STEM, but we need people that are going to have more creativity. We have to have people that can think about new modes of travel, people that have good imaginations to think about how would we go explore Mars, right? Machines aren't good enough to figure those things out yet. So people that have good interpersonal skills, good creativity, no STEM or philosophy of the arts will do really well, but we're going to need a lot more people that are life coaches, that are yoga instructors. I think we're going to become more self-reflective as people, and so we're going to look at more at what jobs to actually help improve our own lives.
One more. And one more is who's going to be making these machines? Will it be like companies or will it be government? Or will it be companies partnering with the government?
It'd probably be companies, to be honest. The governments don't have the knowledge or the resources to do this. But the way they influence companies building it is through recognition. So I think you'll see, right, if you actually want to know one hot area for future of job is actually policymakers. Because you have to anticipate how all these things are going to impact society and come up with policies, regulations, or laws on this. So if you ever wanted to go into government, a lot of work for you. I think on that, we can wrap it up. All right.